Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I, of course, am the legendary Jonathan Clarke, and it is once again my honor to join you this evening to talk about Descendants of Zombies with all of you, a conversation that I always look forward to having with thousands of people who love Descendants of Zombies with all of their heart. If you are somebody who loves Descendants of Zombies with all of your heart, then I think this could be the YouTube channel for you, because the one thing that I always wanted to ensure were that the legacies of your favorite Descendants of Zombie stars would last for forever. And I think together, because I could never have done this without any of your guys' help, we have ensured that, because their stories were very beautiful, and they were stories that I couldn't help but fall in love with time and time again, because every single time I heard the same story, the story seemed to be told different to me, and I always took something special away from it, which was the one thing I always hoped that you guys were going to do, and you were eventually going to subscribe here to this YouTube channel because you thought this was the coolest Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel you had ever watched. Over a decade ago, I saw Descendants for the first time, and needless to say, I was captivated. My heart was stolen by the characters Mel and Evie, played by Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson, for how their beautiful friendship was put on display for the first time ever. And lo and behold, it's still something that's remained constant with me, within my heart, for a very long time. It's always held a very special place there. Just as the friendship of Red and Chloe went on to hold a very special place in our hearts many years after. 5 years after Descendants had thought to have said goodbye, Descendants: The Rise of Red shows up and changes all of our lives. And I know that Descendants: The Rise of Red may have received its fair share of criticism, but in light of all that criticism it received early on, you guys gave it more of a chance than you were probably ever given credit for. And that deserves to be honored. That deserves to be celebrated and commended, and I would love to celebrate this with all of you, because the way I see it is we have a future to be very excited about. We also have Camp Rock 3 coming out this summer, which I know many of you are really excited about. You're ecstatic about it. You're counting down the days to the premiere of Camp Rock 3 because it's been forever, eons, years, decades, centuries since Camp Rock 2 said goodbye in 2010, and we thought that we had seen the last of the original Camp Rock cast, but they are all coming back with the exception of Allison Stoner. So we have a lot to be excited about this coming summer. We also have Descendants 5 Wonderland to look ahead to and be even more excited about, because I predict, for one, this is going to be the deepest story we have ever seen or heard told from the Descendants franchise. I know that Mel may have told her version of a story that once was, but Red's story was a very powerful one, because these characters stood up for the obvious reasons. Their heart, their dedication, their unbelievable strength, and how much they loved each and every one of you. The strength factor of these stars is something I give them a profound amount of respect for, and often show them respect for having shown, because I remember coming from a generation of Disney where that was never really showcased. That was never really put on display. So when I hear about Kylie Cantrell and Ruby Rose Turner talking about how much they work out and how much they want to be a stronger person for all of you, that really gives me a lot of incentive to create all these wonderful videos. To encourage you that if you've ever had a dream, that can happen for you. The most unbelievable things can happen for you even when you least expect them, because you're that much closer to your dreams than you've ever realized. And I know I've said this time and time again. I must sound like a broken record to a lot of people, but that's why many of us create YouTube channels. We create YouTube channels with only ever one hope, and my one hope has always been that I would inspire thousands of people, or at least maybe one star in millions of stars out there in that constellation that we look at every night. And I like to believe that my message of kindness has been spread further, and I've been made more believers out of fans of Descendants of Zombies than perhaps ever before, because you guys have obviously seen something special in these videos, and you've always chosen this YouTube channel as your favorite Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel. And I have this to say to you guys: thank you so much. Thank you so much for being a believer in Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson just like I was. Thank you so much for loving Kylie Cantrell and Malia Baker with all of your heart. And hopefully Ruby too, because I thought Ruby was the most adorable Descendants character that had ever been created. And that was a real huge chance for Ruby to really become a breakout star. The one thing she'd always dream of being, and you guys made that happen for her. I think that she was a really bubbly type character. She was someone who you instantly kind of fell in love with, and I think she ultimately went on to become and have the reputation of being everybody's favorite Descendants character. And why do you think that was, guys? It was because of how genuinely sweet she was, and just how she wanted to spread her own message of kindness in her own unique way. And I think that's what separated her character from every other character that you could choose or designate as your favorite character in the entire Descendants cast, either past or prison. And we've seen a lot of them represent themselves synthetically and kind of come into our lives for no apparent reasons, like the original cast kind of did, and obviously held a very special place in our hearts for a very long time. But, as the times change, we as fans have to change with the times, and we have to move on from what once was. And I know for a lot of people that can be very difficult, but if you actually give this new cast a chance, I promise you will never regret it. And you will fall in love with this new cast just as much as you did the originals, because you obviously took something special away from the original cast story and how you believed there was never a chance of you ever saying goodbye or never letting go. When Descendants: The Rise of Red premiered, I thought there could have been a chance that maybe Jay and Evie and Mal could have returned to tell their own story, even with the absence of Cameron Boyce leaving a void in all of our hearts. I think that his legacy could have continued to be honored with tribute after tribute, with memories being shown, flashback moments from the original franchise. There's a lot you could have done with it. And I think that as long as we are fans of Descendants of Zombies and remain loyal to what once was, his legacy will live on for forever. I love doing Cameron Boyce tribute videos, so if you are a fan of Cameron Boyce, I think this could be the YouTube channel for you. I've often shared my story about how much Cameron Boyce meant to me. I do it every year, and I do it from time to time on this YouTube channel. I think once a year is never good enough. We have to do it more than that to keep the legacy of these stars alive. And I've often loved throwing together Cameron Boyce tribute videos. I've often loved remembering the original Descendants cast members and some of these new cast members, because I remember last year when the announcement of Ruby Rose Turner parting ways with the franchise was first made public on social media. And needless to say, guys, my heart was broken because I never wanted to say goodbye to Cameron Boyce or Ruby Rose Turner, because I thought that Ruby's time with the franchise was very short-lived, and she had a whole lot more to offer. I believed her story was never told and completed. So because I always believed that her story had never been told and completed, I wanted to hold on to that. And I wanted Ruby to know that our contributions to this franchise would never ever be forgotten. Then I heard people criticizing Kylie Cantrell on Instagram and TikTok, and I really let them have it, because the thing is, these stars are really new to this gig, and because they're really new to this gig, we're kind of welcoming them into a franchise that once was so powerful, that had so many people dedicated to it. And those same people can still be dedicated to this franchise and love this cast even more than they did the originals. All you guys got to do is give it a chance. And I promise you, if you subscribe here to this YouTube channel, I will give you more of a reason than perhaps ever before or anybody else has ever given you. Because I know that there are diehard fans of the original cast who have never wanted to say goodbye. Do you guys think that I wanted to say goodbye to the original Batman TV series back in 1991? No, I didn't, because it eventually became Batman and Robin. It had 100 episodes. Do you guys think I ever wanted to say goodbye to the original Power Rangers? I never wanted to say goodbye to the original Power Rangers. Jason David Frank, Amy Jo Johnson, David Yost, some of my all-time favorite Power Rangers. And then these new cast members kind of showed up, and I was like, what's going on here? It's not the original cast. And, as much as I never wanted to say goodbye, I did have to say goodbye. Do you guys think I wanted to say goodbye to Pete Souls, the original voice of Spider-Man back in 1995? No, I didn't. Because there was just something about Pete Souls' voice bringing the animated Spider-Man TV series that may have only lasted 65 episodes from 1995 to 1999. But there was just something about these voices that brought these characters to life that were so special. People like Michael Keaton and people like Christian Bale, who always did fantastic jobs bringing characters like Batman to life. There was just something about their voices and the way they really brought these characters to life that made you a fan. And you never ever wanted to say goodbye to it. Now all of a sudden we have Robert Pattinson playing Batman in the Batman Part 2. And I've never known how I really felt about Robert Pattinson playing Batman, because I remember all these iconic legends playing Batman from years ago. Like Nicolas Cage playing Ghost Rider. We never ever wanted to say goodbye to anybody, but we eventually had to. And now these new cast members are doing such a phenomenal job, which many new casts never really have the chance to do. But promise me, as time goes on, these characters will evolve. And trust in me, guys, when these characters evolve, they're going to give us something special to believe in more than ever before. The beautiful music that helps tell the story to you guys about what these characters represent has really defined a new generation. I know it's been often referred to as a wicked kind of Harry Potter kind of musical, but honestly, if you give it a chance, I promise you will see something special in the music. Also, these solo performances that Freya Sky and Kylie Cantrell have done with the release of their EPs and upcoming album opportunities, it's going to be a really huge year. By the time 2026 is all said and done, we are going to be a part of history. That's pretty much what we're setting ourselves up to be a part of. And I couldn't feel more honored to be a part of it with all of you. I have had the time of my life talking to you guys about Descendants of Zombies and showcasing Descendants of Zombies for its true worth, which is a lot of potential. A lot of potential comes with these new stars, especially Liamani Segura. And there go to the seagulls outside my door, because of course I live near an ocean and it's really beautiful here this evening. This island where I live to, where I reside, often reminds me of Oregon for just how beautiful the scenery is here. And it blows my mind how beautiful a place British Columbia is, where they shot Descendants Wicked Wonderland too. But this place here is really beautiful, and it blows my mind how the producers never chose this place, where I live, where I'm from, to shoot Descendants, because maybe they thought if they chose this place, Jonathan Clarke would have wanted to get in on the action, and he would have stole a lot of production jobs and a lot of production value in this thing, because I would have been sitting in the director's chair, I would have kicked Kimmy Gatewood out of it, and I would have had a chance to bring Descendants of Zombies to life in a way that I never imagined possible. And you guys would have saw a lot of stuff happen, a lot of unbelievable things. You really would have saw a lot of magic brought to life in Descendants for the first time ever, like CGI dragons, fire-breathing dragons at that. A lot more magic than you guys have ever seen. A lot more than just talking dogs, what happened in Descendants. While Duke was really cool, I would have honestly loved to have been the voice of Duke and brought Duke to life in ways that Duke was never brought to life before. You would have seen a whole lot more than just talking dogs and one or two dragon scenes. You would have seen a lot of magic. I say this because I've always saw something special in the product of Descendants of Zombies. There's so much value in fairy tale characters, princesses and their stories that we saw in Aladdin, The Little Mermaid, Sleeping Beauty, countless others that I could go on talking about for forever. Cinderella was always one of my favorites, and you guys who have been subscribed to this YouTube channel know that, have known that for a very long time. There have been so many memories that have been created and kind of happened for us from out of nowhere because of Descendants of Zombies, the Worlds Collide tour from last summer. Now we're looking ahead to Leg 2, which will feature Camp Rock stars for the first time ever. And if the music from the original Camp Rocks are any indication, the music from the new Camp Rock 3 this summer, is going to be absolutely fabulous, and I'm excited to hear what that music will detail. I know that people like Meg Donnelly and Kylie Cantrell have often compared the new productions of Descendants of Zombies presenting kind of a Camp Rock, Hannah Montana kind of vibe, but I've obviously believed for a very long time that Descendants of Zombies stands in a category of its own, and why do you guys think that is? It's because of how much you guys have loved the music and just for how you've responded to it, because that's what writers and producers look for, is the type of response that you give to it. And you took Descendants of Zombies and really blew this one up. You blew it out of the proverbial water. And that's no disrespect from me to mermaids or pirates or witches or sirens or any other aquatic creatures, which is a very difficult word to say. Try saying aquatic 3 times fast, and I promise you guys you will fool it up. But the thing is, I've always had an appreciation for stories that involve mermaids, and that may have something to do with how I've lived here on this island, this very legendary place, for a very long time, which is one of the most haunted places in the world. I bet you guys didn't know that. A lot of stuff happens in the nighttime that I can't really explain. I've seemingly lived here in this haunted house for a very long time, but living here in one of the most haunted places in the world, with one of the highest haunted densities ever seen, has really allowed me to bring these videos to life. And I've often had a greater appreciation showcase for mermaids and pirates and witches and sirens and everything else thrown in there. And I seem to be the only guy who's voluntarily offered to jump inside of a vortex. I would do it at any given moment just to kind of come back and tell you guys what I discovered. Because I do believe in alien invasions and apparently zombie apocalypses too. And I've often tried to prepare yourselves for this in every video I've created. Because the thing is, guys, we can never be too sure if a zombie apocalypse is never going to happen, and we should never believe or buy into what these scientific experts have often been trying to tell us for years. I think what it comes down to is what you believe in. If you believe something special is going to happen for Descendants of Zombies, stop laughing, then perhaps you should continue on believing in that, because this is going to be a far more special story than we ever imagined possible. And I'm just really excited to be a part of it with all of you, to have the chance to meet people like Liamani Segura and see what her character Pink is going to offer to this franchise. Obviously, it's going to have something to do with appreciating your siblings and having a relationship with your sister, which a lot of us have and a lot of us are grateful for, but I think that more value can be added to the relationships we have with our siblings, like our sisters, and I think we're going to see this firsthand in Descendants of Zombies, because we obviously do have an appreciation for our siblings, but we can have an even better appreciation for our siblings for the stories that Red and Pink tell us, and characters like Zed and Edison told us in terms of a relationship, which I know a lot of us dream of having. Finding that one person that we could have a chance of falling in love with. and staying with for the rest of our lives. I can't even tell you how many stories I could share with you in relation to Zed Anderson's story, because I thought it was one of the most beautiful stories that I ever saw in my life. I saw it for the first time in February of 2018, a couple of days removed from Valentine's Day, feeling really downhearted, and then all of a sudden, just as fast as you could snap your fingers, Zombies happens for no apparent reason. And this beautiful love story between two characters I had never seen or heard about in my lifetime, Zed Anderson, played by Meg Donnelly, and Milo Manheim, were brought to life. And I felt a part of it. And I always wanted to be a part of it. I always wanted to be a part of the Zombies franchise and be an action hero where I would have the chance to kick a whole lot about, but live the whole Tom Cruise kind of lifestyle. That would have been really cool, which many of you can have happen for me. You know, if you hit the subscribe button or hit the like button, Jonathan Clarke could have a chance of getting in on all this action and become everybody's favorite action hero, which would be kind of cool. Probably have the Jonathan Clarke teddy bear, the Jonathan Clarke oh no teddy bear with all my popular catchphrases. And then when Zombies 7, 8, 9 comes out, we can have Jonathan Clarke oh no 2.0 and update the teddy bear's voice box and stuff with new catchphrases. I've got this all planned out, and I promise you guys that if Jonathan Clarke has a chance to contribute anything to Descendants of Zombies, it will be the greatest Descendants of Zombies franchise or chapter of it that you will ever see in your life. Because I've always seen so much value in these stories and bringing these stories to life. And if I ever wanted to be a part of a conversation, it was going to have to be a conversation that had everything to do with Kylie Cantrell, Malia Baker, all your favorite Descendants of Zombie stars, because you guys have saw heroes in them for a very long time. So because you've seen heroes in them, I think that deserves to be brought to life in ways that are forever possible, because I think that if anyone ever has a hope for Descendants of Zombies, you should continue on believing in that hope and also pursuing it. Because the way I see it is, we still have a long way to go, and this story has always been far from over. And as long as this story is far from over, I'm going to be a part of it, and so are you. So I'm inviting you to come along with me on this incredible journey where we discover the power, along with our passions for our favorite characters and all these wonderful moments that have made us fans of Descendants of Zombies. And you're probably someone tonight saying, hey, Jonathan Clarke, your YouTube channel is so cool, man, for how you talk about pink and how you always believe in red and how you've loved Dove Cameron for forever. Well, the reason why I love bringing this story to life is because that's what you have to do. No matter how much you may be suffering from a zombie apocalypse yourself or suffering from an alien invasion, the thing is, you've always got to make sure your show goes on and people see the value in your videos, even though you probably believe in an alien invasion and zombie apocalypse happening at any given moment more than anybody. That's what puts smiles on everybody's faces, because you think characters like Sonic the Hedgehog, who you see behind me, are real. You think that Sully the Monster from Monsters Incorporated has a chance of living under your bed and coming out from under it just to say hi. You believe in taking magic carpet rides. You believe in jumping under the sea and finding a mermaid for yourself. That's what makes these videos so special. And I've loved every single moment that I've had the chance to share my opinions and my thoughts and my predictions with all of you with the upcoming Descendants 5 Wonderland. How I think the outfits for Red and Chloe are beautiful, truly mind-blowing. And I think that a lot of people feel the same way too. They've just never been able to put into words for you guys the way you've always wanted to hear it. Let me put it to you this way. I think this cast is truly mind-blowing. So because I've always believed this cast is truly mind-blowing, they deserve to have a chance taken on them by far more people who have ever taken a chance on them, because trust in me and believe in me, this cast is going to be something special. And they have the greatest chance of all time of going down in history for being some of the greatest Disney legends we have ever witnessed. This is the last of a generation, in case you don't know. We are never going to see stars like this again have so much success and so much power showcased and so much heart along with that. So because this is the last of a generation, let's make sure they go down making history with all of you and all of us being a part of it for a very long time. Let's ensure their legacies, and let's do it together. Because there's no better way or no more powerful way of describing Descendants of Zombies than by experiencing the love of this franchise together. Because no matter who we are, we all have a story when it comes to Descendants of Zombies, and we want that story to be put in an art gallery for other Descendants of Zombies fans to walk through generations to come. Because I would love for these videos to be watched in years to come, 20, 25, even 30 years from now, even possibly 50. And you're saying to yourself, hey, Jonathan Clarke, do you really think that YouTube is still going to be around in the year 2067? I really don't know. But I would just love for these videos to be watched probably 65 years from now and have a chance of possibly, maybe going down in history for being one of the greatest of all time, which again is up to you. because you guys can make this happen and allow me to realize my dream of surpassing Mr. Beast and going on to become the greatest content creator of all time. All I need is 481.5 million subscribers, and again, that comes down to you. And you're saying to yourself, geez, Jonathan, 485.1 million subscribers is a lot of subscribers. That's like every subscriber in the world. I know, but as long as you got the love and support of every fan of Descendants of Zombies, what else have you ever needed? And I mean, nobody's going to subscribe to these YouTube channels that are just simply telling you what they think is going to happen in Descendants of Zombies. The way I see that is, nobody's going to subscribe to that. Everybody's going to subscribe here to a guy who thinks that he lives inside of a haunted house, who believes that alien invasions and zombie apocalypse is happening at any given moment. That's what brings these videos to life. Because if I'm not going to prepare you for a zombie apocalypse, then who out there is crazy enough too? Guys, I've had the time of my life recording these videos for you. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your lives, and to have represented you, lending my voice to the soundtrack of Descendants of Zombies. It has been such a huge honor for me, having met thousands of people, and I know I have my work cut out for me, but I've got my backpack ready to go, and I've got it on my back, continuing on my journey down the path of Oradon to still meet more fans of Descendants of Zombies. And I look forward to sharing in that experience with all of you, a story that many of us will never, ever forget. I've often wanted to write my story. I didn't even know where I began. Probably like this. Once upon a time, and then eventually end it with, we all lived happily ever after. But even though we could live happily ever after, who's to say the story has to ever be over? The story can keep on going and going and going and going and going, and I can write one of those 1,000-page novels and surpass Breaking Dawn as the greatest and longest novel ever written. Because I believe in Descendants of Zombies just as much as each and every one of you. And you're saying to yourself, hey, Jonathan Clarke, Breaking Dawn, if you've ever read it, is a really long book. It's over 1,000 pages. Have you checked it out? That's why I just said, I'm going to write one of the greatest stories ever told and surpass Breaking Dawn. I've got a little dreams to surpass. And you guys can make that happen for me. Don't forget to hit my like button, hit my subscribe button, because these videos are really fun, and I think you will find something to appreciate in virtually every single one of them, because there truly is something here special for every fan of Descendants of Zombies to take away. I hope these videos surely will hold a very special place in your heart for many years to come, because the way I see it is we've got our work cut out for us, and we've still got a long way to go, and there's no better way to get there than by getting there together, sharing our stories with each other about how we were fans of Descendants of Zombies that made us the best of friends, and the one thing that we will never ever forget, the one thing that will forever remain constant. Thank you so much for spending your evening with me, and thank you so much for always holding a very special place in your heart for Descendants of Zombies and making this experience, this entire experience, having created all these videos so special for me, something that will go on to hold a very special place in my heart for many years to come. Thank you so much for having Descendants of Zombies mean so much to your heart, and thank you so much forever and always for having always watched these videos. It will forever and always be my honor to bring these videos to life and share my story with you about how I became a fan of Descendants of Zombies. Thank you so much for watching this video.